Time you want. Hey, we're here. We're here live. FAWKES News live from US Guns and Ammo. It's our live show today, and we've already got a live chat, man. This is kind of one of our first live chats outside of our Failure to Stop podcast, which is now just law enforcement content. But this is all news, baby. Political news coming to you from US Guns and Ammo. Huge shout out to David J, Will Cray, Kosekia. I never know how to say her name. Kosekia Lofton, Koseka, Kosechia. Spell that out for me, Kosechia. Says I'm a busy man. Donut Shop Podcast. Always here. Love you guys. Listen, big news, guys, coming out of Fox Media Group. We've signed some new podcasts to the media company. Not only do we have Anti-Hero Podcast, Two Cops, One Donut Shop Podcast, but we now have Beyond the Barrel. We also have The Bar is Open with Beth and Greg doing society and culture, and they're going to intermingle even here on Fox News to do some society and culture. They've been in the podcast game for about 4 years. Go over to Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. They're all on YouTube as well. The Bar is Open as well. And then we have the Unbecoming podcast, Product Unbecoming. You guys follow their Instagram. They're huge right now. They're really big, blowing up on YouTube. And so, yeah, putting together some live shows for Police Week. We're also bringing in a new publicist. I can't really talk about it yet. Contracts haven't been signed, but we've been working with her for a little while. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And I think we're this close to locking her down. But that means we're going to be doing a lot more live shows for you. She's going to be booking a lot more big, giant guests for everybody across our network. And we'll be in a city near you. So if you love the Failure to Stop, the Fox Media Group, the whole conglomerate, and you want to see all of your favorite influencers that we bring you, like King Pix Media, Mike Perry, the UFC fighter, Conservative Anthony, Blake Reynolds, Ken Shamrock, Pat Militech, all the guests that we've ever brought in for all of our live shows and things like that. If you want to see more of that and you want to be a part of this culture of free speech and journalism and news and all the things that we have to offer you guys, please join the Fox Media family. Follow all of the podcasts, and that way you can keep up with us. And you can catch us live in your city and meet your favorite host. Maybe you don't like me. Doesn't mean you're not going to like Beth and Greg. Doesn't mean you're not going to like Kenny from Beyond the Barrel, or Tyler from Anti-Hero, or Justin from Donut Shop Podcast. By the way, I had my Donut Shop Podcast hat on earlier today. My son just bolted out the door with it. But yeah, here we are, US Guns and Ammo. And today's FEMA Switcheroo. Is the whistleblower blowing on the whistleblowers? Wait, how does that work? Josh, are you with me today?
Yes, sir.
Oh, he is with me. There is a man bent over behind me getting water, and I think that's hilarious. I think it's great. Like, what a great way to advertise your business. Just show your ass. Show your booty. Shake your ass. Watch yourself. Sorry if you're just an audio listener, which 99.9% of you are, but you're missing out on a glorious beehole behind me. Let's get serious for a minute, though. You know what? Let's do it this way. Today's show is brought to you by Shieldbox. Going to be doing an unboxing here. That's why I'm actually here today, is to do this unboxing of Shieldbox. But and today's show is also brought to you by KillSpec.com. I'm losing my mind today. Josh, take us away with a proper intro, my friend, if you could do so.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up, giddy up. I'll never stop saying it. Guns up, giddy up. And it's especially guns up, giddy up because look where we're at. U.S. Guns and Ammo here in Newport, North Carolina, or maybe it's Middlesex, North Carolina. I've seen like 3 signs. I've seen Moorhead, North Carolina, Newport, North Carolina, Middlesex, North Carolina. No, not Middlesex, Moorhead. Moorhead, Newport, and New Bern. U.S. Arms and Ammo. What did I say? U.S. Arms and Ammo. I don't know if you can check these guys out on Instagram or not, but anyway, glad to be here. Glad to be supporting this business, and I'm thankful for Shieldbox for putting this all together for us this weekend. And listen, so shooting this documentary, Josh, I'm shooting this documentary, this Helene doc. And I started shooting it because of my time out in Western North Carolina. You guys have all heard about it. But, the one reason I wanted to do the documentary was because of the lack of FEMA response, the lack of any federal response, the lack of, we've got whistleblowers on this documentary and it's insanity. So go over to Instagram and follow Helene_doc. So you can keep up with this documentary. It's becoming much bigger than we ever anticipated. A whole film crew from PHOS Media came down from Michigan to shoot this whole thing with me. I wrote the script for it, and nowhere in the script did it mention FEMA or a government response. However, every single person we interviewed wanted to bring it up, and they were extremely angry about what is going on in Western North Carolina and why nobody is coming for them, except for Asheville proper or some certain neighborhoods that are getting just all of the resources, all of the media coverage. But then it's kind of like white rule America. And I made a joke, Josh. I made a joke in Orlando during my stand-up comedy show weeks ago. I don't know how many weeks ago that was for Shell Shock, but I made the joke. I started my comedy show off with how I appreciated Orlando because everybody in Orlando will let you know that they're not racist or homophobe because everybody has a sign or a flag in their yard that lets you know that they're not racist and they're not a homophobe, which then I then made a joke about how the rest of the world doesn't really need to do that. You just kind of assume when you meet somebody that they're not racist or homophobe, unless there's like a flag, right? A rebel flag or something like that. So I did this all in a comedic way. And then I ended my whole comedy show at the end about Western North Carolina. And that maybe if Western North Carolinians had a pride flag and a BLM banner outside of their house, maybe they would be getting some government assistance. Now, I made that weeks ago before that was mainstream media news because I had been there and I saw it. Nobody kind of understood what I was talking about. Now we have this woman, this whistleblower, who comes out and is talking about, well, we covered it here yesterday briefly because I don't have the things brought up because of the technical difficulties today. Do you bring up this article for me about the whistleblower from FEMA, or bring up the text messages from yesterday if you still have those? But a FEMA...
So this is how this went down. There's a contracted company that leaked this text message that went out, and this is a group text message that goes out in the morning before they start their brief. And then the second bullet point in this text message is avoid Holmes advertising Donald Trump. Then the Daily Wire broke this story as FEMA is denying requests for federal aid amidst disasters. So the Daily Wire broke this last week. And then this lady went on a podcast a couple of days ago, the Roland S. Martin podcast. And she's like, hey, well, yes, that actually happened. Hey, I'm going to confirm that. Yes, I have been fired. Yes, I'm going to confirm that. But then she comes out to say, that's not the only thing that we're doing. We discriminate all the time. So they get into this long interview. They interview back and forth for 34 minutes. And I invite you guys to go watch and listen to it because it's amazing the candor and the way that this woman talks about the things that are going on inside of FEMA. She's only worked there since 2019 and she's a supervisor. So she's worked there a couple of years, and even then she's not really worked there. She gets deployed. So she's a reservist for FEMA. So FEMA has these people that volunteer just like the National Guard and all that, but they're volunteer for FEMA. And then they get deployed out. Well, just like the National Guard and everybody else, Eric, do you know what the best type of deployment is for the National Guard or reservists? A stateside, because you get TDY, you get all that extra money, and you get paid a lot of money. They put you up in hotels. They take care of your meals. You get a rental car. Something that we have been reporting on that FEMA is doing. They're putting people up in hotels instead of putting victims up in hotels. So this lady goes on to this podcast and says, not only is it Trump supporters, we just discriminate. If anybody gets hostile with us, we don't go there. We keep a map of this, but we don't really keep a map of it. It's just we put a pinpoint for our geographic location, which has a latitude and longitude that you can go back and search and see exactly what the address was. But they don't want to keep personal information. PII, she refers to this, PII, PII, PII. But when he asked the specific question, he said, okay, this article comes out with this text message, and it says, you skipped 20 homes in this canvassing specifically because they have Trump supporters. Do you have evidence that this happens again anyplace else? She says, yeah, it's happened before. He goes, do you have evidence of that? She goes, no. So they're going to report that this happens, and they're going to report that they don't go to your homes if you're hostile. That's why they don't go to your homes. They don't go to your homes because you're a Harris reporter or Harris or Biden or a Democrat or a Republican or a Trump. They go to your home because, or don't go to your home because you're hostile. She goes into this whole thing about, like, there's this talking about painting purple lines and where the spray paint is, and it means something. If it's one way, it means something. If it's someplace else, it means something else. That they've learned this over years, and the reason why they don't go into some neighborhoods is they're already hostile to FEMA. Well, the problem is they're hostile with FEMA because they can't get aid from FEMA. While they're trying to get aid from FEMA, they're watching this administration hemorrhage is not a word that I can use to describe the amount of money that we have sent to anybody but non-Americans. We have hemorrhaged money from this country for the last 4 years. And then they come out and say, no, FEMA's not broke. We have money. Well, your director himself, we're not picking up some words. We're not making stuff up. We're not going, oh, well, this money's over here, and we're going to try to link it to this money over here. His own words. We don't have enough money if another hurricane hits. Well, why don't you have enough money? Why was things mismanaged? This is your job. Your job is to answer these questions. So this lady comes out and she says, this is a pattern. This is something that's been going on a long time. She says that not only was she fired from her FEMA job, she's fired from her other job where she's some executive. She really didn't get into exactly what it is or what that does, but she said that she was fired from her job for company policies, but they didn't say what company policy. She was fired from the FEMA stuff, but she doesn't get a real reason from FEMA. And FEMA comes out with I'm going to read it. This is a non-response. November 9th. So today is November 13th. This came out last week, and FEMA has not came out with anything else since then. Washington, more than 22,000 FEMA workers 22,000 FEMA employees every day adhere to FEMA's core values and dedication to helping people before, during, after disasters, often sacrificing the time with their own families to help disaster survivors. Recently, one FEMA employee departed from these values. Departed from her values to advise her survivors' assistants to not go to homes with yard signs supporting President-elect Donald Trump. This is a clear violation of FEMA's core values and the principles to help people regardless of their political affiliation. This is reprehensible. I want to be clear to all my employees, the American people, that this type of behavior and action will not be tolerated, and we'll hold our people accountable if they violate these standards of conduct. We take this mission to help everyone before, during, and after disaster seriously. This is an employee that has been terminated, and we refer this matter to the Office of Special Investigation Counsel. I will continue to do everything I can to make sure this will never happen again. Well, I'm going to pull up an article from October 3rd of this year titled, Trump refuses to give aid to California wildfire workers, told how many people there voted for him. Aid says. So they're going to make this entire article about how Trump withheld aid to California wildfires based off of somebody's allegation, right? So I'm going to scroll down here. I'll put these links up afterwards. I'll scroll down here to where it says there is no indication FEMA gave any special treatment. So they have no receipts for what they're talking about. Not only that, in that same article, it goes out to say that during Trump's presidency, there were 89 natural disasters that he responded to, that gave 17 of them were given more money than they normally would. And 23 of them were in states that were democratically run. And this is from Politico. So they're trying to do a hit piece and say Trump's not, Trump withhold aid, Trump withhold aid, Trump withhold aid, Trump withhold aid. So Eric, let me take you down a story. Let me take you down. We'll just go the last 12 months. What's happened in the last 12 months? Well, FEMA denied aid for relief funds amidst record number of costly disasters. This is from, I have a bunch of them here. So this was from Massachusetts this year, dumped 11 inches of rain and FEMA denied them aid. Here is FEMA denies Little Rock's or little flocks appeal for disaster assistance after a tornado. So a tornado came through and decimated this community, and FEMA said, "No, fam, you're on your own." Summit County families devastated after FEMA denies disaster assistance. FEMA denies disaster assistance. FEMA denies disaster assistance. Denies disaster assistance. Now we're getting into the fun stuff. Building codes in North Carolina are denying disaster assistance. Eric, I don't remember one point of the bullet points of this aid that went over to Israel or went over to Gaza or went over to Ukraine to ask them about their building codes. Was that a fundamental part of the aid to the people that don't pay for the aid? Because here in the United States, if you pay for this aid and you contribute to it, but the state that you live in has building codes that are different from the federal government's building codes, and the federal government comes in afterwards and says, "Nah, you didn't build into our codes, so you don't get aid." So we're going to keep going. Judge says he's leaning towards nixing FEMA's rule from denying payments for aid. This one specifically, I'm going to highlight because FEMA and the federal government caused this disaster. This was a prescribed burn that you go in and you burn areas out to make sure that they don't become wildfires. You go in, it's a controlled burn. Well, they lost control of it, and then they're going to deny aid. You caused the problem and denied the solution. So now we're going to go and we're getting really into the fun stuff where FEMA, we're getting into the fact checks here, did Biden and Harris deny FEMA for hurricane budget? Something that we've reported on before. So we're getting into, well, now we're complaining about not getting aid, but we're going to start running fact checks. Oh, this is false. The White House responds to Trump's FEMA disaster claims. Trump says that they're not getting claims because they report Republicans. Well, that's false. I don't remember CNN coming back out with another article just as much as they did with this one. Trump slams response to Helene. I don't remember the AP coming back out with just as much vigor, coming and saying, "Hey, here's the receipt from FEMA showing." They don't have receipts. They're going to come out with receipts showing that we're withholding aid from Trump supporters. Then she's going to go out on a podcast and go, "Well, we're trying to fix this narrative because it's not just Trump supporters. We withhold aid from everybody," which is a bigger problem. If that's the case, this is what I encountered in my, and this is coming out on the Helene doc. There was a woman, and a lot of things happen by the grace of God. Literally, you don't have to be a spiritual person. I've become a very spiritual person from my time in Western North Carolina, only because God has literally put me in places that I shouldn't have been to help people that I should not have been helping. Getting lost and finding people that it's insane. You'll see it on the documentary. I don't want to, but one of these folks came over. She was a nurse and she was in her scrubs, and she just stopped by and she said, "What are you guys filming?" And we told her we were doing a documentary, and I let her know that I had been on the ground for 6 weeks helping. And I just felt that like the story of what I saw going on needs to be told to the American public. And she said, "Can you meet me here in 30 minutes and I'll give you an interview?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't ask you for an interview, but of course we'll be there." I didn't say that, but in my brain, I was like, okay. So we get over there and she tells me the story. She's like, you said you want to tell the truth. And I said, yes, ma'am. This is a black female. And because I'm going to use her voice because I'm a podcaster and I have to paint that picture for the audio listeners. But she went on this massive tirade about how FEMA was hiding from the public. So she said that she was a nurse and that she and she's very theatrical, and so that she saw that FEMA wasn't doing anything, and that there were bodies on her way to work that weren't getting cleaned up, and she had to pass by them, and she was like, "Why isn't anybody cleaning up these bodies? Like, somebody needs to come out here." I mean, just, she's mad, she's angry. And so she goes into this story about how they finally said, "You keep saying FEMA's not here. Well, FEMA is here." And she said, "Well, show me." And so they take her to an Ingles, as she says, and at the very far end of the parking lot is one table, no tent, just a table with a piece of paper written in pencil is FEMA. It's not even a professional done a sign that says FEMA. And so she was like, "Y'all playing games. You're hiding."
So she goes and tells all the people in the public that FEMA's out here hiding. Well, the next day, FEMA comes out with a real big sign that says FEMA, but they move it to the backside of the Ingalls where nobody can see it. But then they make a social media post saying that we have updated our sign. We've heard the signs of community. And then, so, of course, our little whistleblower here, or our interviewee, whatever you want to call it, she comes back with, okay, now they're gaslighting. Now they're saying that, yes, we're here for you. We've updated our sign, but they aren't telling you is that they moved to the backside of Ingalls where now nobody can find them. And so they have this big city hall meeting in this wiped out town that shouldn't be having city hall. It should just be all hands on deck cleanup effort, which is not happening in Swannanoa, North Carolina. And so she says that in this meeting, the FEMA says that they've been working and all their crews are working at this intersection. And she's like, really, tell me more about what you're doing at this intersection. She said, well, we're removing trees and we've already gotten people out of their homes that needed to be out of homes, these elderly folks that are out of meds and everything. And she goes, really, that's super funny because I live there. At the intersection I live at, and my brother and all my kinfolk, we have ruined chainsaws. We're the ones that have been complaining about not seeing you because we're doing all of the work and we're telling you people need saved and we're telling you there's elderly that are trapped and nobody came. So now you're lying. You took our story, the story that my family complained to you, and now you're telling it to these people as if it's your story. It's incredible, the gaslighting, and she can feel it. You can feel the passion coming out of her, and she never once says who she's voting for. And to be frank, if I had to stereotype, if I had to guess, I would guess she's probably not a Trump supporter by any means. I don't know. Does that make me a bad person? Maybe she is. Maybe she's the biggest Trump supporter. I don't know. I didn't get that feeling from her. I didn't I didn't profile her in that way. Call me a bad person or whatever. Profiling's a real thing, and people stereotype for a reason. And but I really, it wasn't political for her. It was passionate for her because she was being lied to. And at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's FEMA, which is a representation of the government, is lying to. We also have National Guard guys who says, yeah, we were activated. And the National Guard said, we activated 3,000 troops. Yeah, they activated 3,000 troops. And then they left us in armories to just sit for weeks. Yeah, they sent helicopters to just sit on runways. So they're gaslighting you. They're saying like, no, we sent them, but they're not sending them there to help. And I saw this with my own eyes, which is why the Helene doc is so important. And listen, I want to take a minute to plug the Helene documentary. We're going to move on to the next story here. But the film is going to be free. The documentary is going to be free. But, the point here is to raise money, to put money back into Swannanoa, to put back into Burnsville, to put in the actual hands of those who need it. So, although, yes, I think it will go free. Where I'm not sure. I can't guarantee anything. I hope it's free because I want everybody to see it. But there will be a call to action to donate, and 100% of these funds are going. That's why I'm doing it. I want these people to have hot water heaters going through the winter. I want them to have hot showers. These are good American people that did not deserve this. And so it's really important to me. Also, if you'll bring up for me right now, Office Joe show is out, guys. This is a $20 series right now. If the producers, now this was all veteran ran and operated show with all of your favorite first responder and veteran influencers. I donated all the money that I made back, that I made from the film. I donated it back to the film itself. If you can't afford this film, but you want it and you want to watch it, I want you to DM me. This is how important you guys are for me, you Wolfpackers out here. If you're a Wolfpacker and you really want to watch this and you can't afford it, I still want you to see it. So what I want you to do is I want you to follow me at Eric Tanzi Official. And all you have to do for me to give you $20 to buy the series, the whole series, which I'm in 3 episodes of, and all of your favorite first responder and veteran influencers are in it. Tim Kennedy, Vincent Rocco Vargas. We're talking about Mary Day. She lost both of her arms on Iraq. We've got
Mandatory Fund Day.
Who else is in there? We've got Ashley Gutermuth. Who?
Mandatory Fund Day.
Yeah, man, I got a lag here. Yep. It's Good 24/7 is in there. Jared Taylor from Black Rifle Coffee is in there. So yeah, a lot of big influencers are in this. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to buy the series. If you cannot afford the series, or it's just you don't trust me that it's going to be good enough, I want to pay for you to view it because you've been loyal to the Wolfpack. You guys have always super chatted. You guys have always done a great job. I want to purchase it for you. I want to do that for you. You guys give me gifts all the time. You guys send me care packages and hats and shirts and Christmas cards, which I think is hilarious. I love that. All you guys have been here since day one on Failure to Stop. So here's what I want to do. I want to pay for your thing if you want me to. So, but you have to do this for me. You have to give me a 5-star rating and review right here on the new Fox, iTunes or Spotify. Pick one, give it a 5-star rating and review. You got to follow the Helene doc if you have Instagram. And those are the things you got to do. And I think it would be fair that if I'm giving you $20 that you go and give a 5-star rating review to all the podcasts on our new network, like Donut Shop Podcast, like Two Cops, One Donut, Beyond the Barrel. By the way, there's 2 Beyond the Barrels, but the newer one it's got a barrel and a rifle, so it's really easy to see it. But anyway, I would love to buy that for you. But go show them the website. You just did Office Joe. It's a hilarious show, and it is for a good cause. It goes back to the American Legion, and they are so instrumental in helping out people. And so make sure you download the new TV series, The Comedy, which is so funny. I think it's great, family friendly for the most part. Office Joe show. And the reason why there's a big push for this is because if we get a big enough push now, they'll put it on Netflix or Hulu, and really start getting it out there. But right now we're in that trial period where they've got to see enough movement from it. So it's doing really well, and I would love for us to help out on that movement. Again, there's a movement happening. Josh, there's a movement happening for freedom of speech. There's this breath of fresh air and having all of these podcast networks. So right now we're planning on a January 6th thing. We're going to be in DC for January 6th. We're not sure. We've got this new publicist that we've worked with. I can't say her name yet, but she's got the gears turning, getting us lined up for maybe a show on the January 5th in the DC area, followed by full coverage of J6 and what's going to go on there. Hopefully it's just a celebration and nothing crazy pops off. But again, we're kind of, as a media network, we're really taking a stab at being collective journalists, sharing journalism and getting truth out, unfiltered truth. All right, let's go into some politics here. We've got Donald Trump stacking the House, stacking the Senate. He's already making talking peace talks with China and Russia and everything else, which is bizarre. But here we go. I want to talk about this, Josh. Now it comes to this is where Fox News is going to come into play, because I'm going to hold Donald Trump accountable for everything he does. And it took me years to be able to come out and openly say that I'm endorsing Donald Trump, because I didn't know if he was a fraud or he wasn't a fraud. And then I saw this next administration, and the Biden administration, which was a complete failure. I mean, from the Afghanistan pullout, I knew we could not sustain this type of government oversight from a guy like Joe Biden making catastrophic, and I'm not being hyperbolic, catastrophic mistakes like the Afghanistan pullout. I mean, it was uncalled for. And thank God for leaders like Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, who were willing to give up their pension, to give up literally his freedom, because he was incarcerated because of this. And as a lieutenant colonel, and one of the first lieutenant colonels since like World War I or II to be court-martialed and thrown in prison, literally for speaking the truth and about how terrible Joe Biden is and was for this whole Afghanistan pullout debacle. Now we have Donald Trump in office, Josh. Now we've got DT up in office, and now he's appointing Elon Musk as the Secretary of Efficiency, which I think is hilarious. But now we've got Marco Rubio coming on board. Is Marco Rubio a neocon? I mean, do we trust Marco Rubio? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. All I know is that, and now he's appointed the border czar, who I think he already worked for Trump in his past administration. But here's my point. If we don't start seeing lower gas prices, lower grocery bill, if we don't see a border wall security, here's my ticket. What are we going to do about war? Is Donald Trump really the president of peace, or were we bamboozled like we were by Dick Cheney and George Bush? We have a new warmonger, because the guys that he's appointed, that he's putting in place, is it the Secretary of Defense that he just appointed, who's this Green Beret, ex-Green Beret? But you remember, he was the Secretary of Defense during the Bush and Cheney administration as well. And so there's talks of bringing this guy on board too. And that scares me. That scares me because this guy, or he wasn't in charge. He wasn't Secretary of Defense. I'm sorry. He was in charge of counterterrorism under the Dick Cheney. I think that if you served under Dick Cheney and George Bush, like that should just automatically disqualify you from being in the Trump inner circle. So I think we have to hold Donald Trump's feet to the fire. We could be just as hard on him as other media outlets as. I'll be fair, but is Donald Trump going to be the president of peace, or is that smoke and mirrors to get him elected? What is your take on that?
I personally think that he's going to start doing things right away, or at least start trying to do things with the appointments that are coming out, the people that he's putting in the key positions. Not only that, he's rolled out, this is my statement on this. This is my policy on this. This is what I want to do on this. This is my plan on this. This is my plan on this. This is my plan on this. Kamala came from a middle-class family. So she came from a middle-class family, raised $1 billion, and ended up $20 million in debt. So that could be your leadership, or you had Donald Trump. My worry is just like California, Los Angeles Police Department's chief comes out and says, we're not going to work with ICE and deal with these detainers and deport. Like, so you're not, this is where this tit for tat part of the getting federal funds part. If LAPD is not going to work with the federal government, then LAPD doesn't get federal funding. But that's where this federal funding thing of like, well, we can withhold funding if you're not going to play with politics for this, but you're going to get funding if you play with politics for this. That's where they take the politics out of the funding, period. You either, these are the requirements to get this funding and you get it, or these are requirements and you don't get it. My worry is that he's going to start enacting plans, or he's going to start put policies in, and someone's going to we're going to throw a lawsuit in the District Court of California, and the District Court of New York, and the District Court of this, the District Court of this, and they're going to have all these lawsuits in, and they're just going to try to slow him down, and then they're going to go, look, he didn't get anything done. He was here for 4 years, and he didn't do anything that he said he was going to do, and then everybody's going to come back, oh, you tied him up in court again. Because the first presidency, I'm not sure if we remember, there was this whole Russiagate impeachment thing that happened. There was the second impeachment thing that they tried to do right at the end. That happened. So they drug him through the mud the entire first presidency. But the one thing that got me on board towards the end of his first presidency, because I voted for the first presidency just because I wanted change. Just like when you voted for Barack Obama, you wanted change. I wanted that change. I didn't like, when I was a federal employee under Barack Obama, getting a letter from the government saying, hey, you got to come to work tomorrow, but we don't know if we're going to be able to pay you for the next couple of months. That happened under Barack Obama. That didn't happen under Donald Trump. What did happen under his first presidency, a lot of the things that he campaigned on, he did. He's one of the few presidents that I could look back, and that's one of the things that kept me on board was, hey, he campaigned on A and he stayed with A. He campaigned on B and he stayed with B. He campaigned on C and he stayed with C. So like you got to go with their track record of go this wishy-washy stuff. So my worry is that they're going to try to throw the courts in, but you have the presidency, you have the House, you have the Senate, you've won the trifecta. So the worry is, like you're saying with Marco Rubio, are there rhinos in that trifecta that now we got voted in, but now we're still going to try to throw a wrench in there? Because think of what happens. Think of on the other side of this, you have people that have been inside the government that I'll go ahead and I'm not even going to make the claim or make it to say it's an allegation. There are people inside the government that have stock, have investments in companies and things that they have regulation over, which shouldn't happen. But Donald Trump's going to come in, and Elon Musk and Vic's going to come in, and they're going to go through this efficiency thing, and they're going to start turning off those taps. Well, all these people that have had these taps just, hey, this water just keep coming in because guess what? I brought in 30,000 illegals to this city and we have to put them somewhere. So someone puts them up in this hotel, and guess what? Someone's getting paid for that hotel. Someone owns that building. Someone's getting paid for that. And if we're going to deport all them, that's turning off the tap. So what Donald Trump wants to do is turn off the taps to all these places and all these government entities and all this government stuff that we shouldn't be paying for. We shouldn't be paying for sex changes in other countries. We shouldn't be paying for transgender dances in other countries. We shouldn't be paying for getting tourism to Egypt was one of the things that I seen. We spent a bunch of money to try to promote tourism to Egypt. Egypt doesn't do anything for us. I can't get on my car and go Colorado, Wyoming, Egypt. It's not on my destination list when I can just go travel because it's on the other side of the world and it has nothing to do with this. So why are we paying money to that? So he's going to start turning off those taps. People are going to get scared of that. That's a threat to their money, and they're going to try to throw any wrench that they can throw in there to make sure that that tap keeps coming. Because that's one of the things that we keep saying the whole time. Follow the money. Follow the money. That's all you got to do, and you'll get to what the real issue is. We'll tell you what the issue is, and we'll whoop smoke and mirrors over here. But this is all I want to do is put something in front of your face to funnel the money from taxes to whatever I want. I can put whatever I want in between here. We'll call it Ukraine. Oh, we got Ukraine money coming in here. Oh, we're not going to account for it. We're not going to audit it. And we're not going to follow any procedures to see where it goes. Who knows where it goes? We're finding money in drawers. We're finding money in bank accounts. We're finding money all over the place, but it's not going to where it's supposed to be going. So we're going to cut that tap off. Well, somebody in there is getting money, and they're going to be afraid of losing that money. So my worry is that courts and places and people that are involved in the system and this scheme and George Soros money and all this money, that the dark money, they're going to try to essentially we're going to be at a political war with trying to get things gutted from within to get the rot out. I don't know. Because I like when you were talking about Stu Scheller, I think back to like, these are weird times that we live in. And I would try to think back of put myself in like what George Washington when we were founding this country, right? When we said, fuck you to Europe. We pushed the tea in the harbor. We want representation. We want to represent the people from within. And if you're not getting that representation, there's a problem with that. And leaders stood up and said, hey, we have a problem with that. So a leader stood up and said, hey, I have a problem with the way that we're withdrawing our troops from Afghanistan. That's a leader. So there are leaders that have been involved with this stuff throughout this process that have been shut down. So yes, I am worried about some of but also there are people at this point, if you speak up, you need to be held accountable. And I think we're in the realm of accountability. That's the other part of this, is the accountability side of it. I think that needs to be happening to show people, hey, not only if you don't do the right thing that you're going to get in trouble for it, but there is some repercussions on the back end of it. You will be held accountable for it.
Yeah,
if you're laundering money from the government, then you should get in trouble for laundering money from the government.
Yeah, I think that people have been getting away with things a lot, way too long, and I think that time is over. And the appointment for government efficiency is going to expose some of that. I think Elon Musk is going to have no problem exposing some of those things. Maybe we'll see. Again, time will tell. I don't know. Have we been bamboozled? How is this going to look? Is he really going to, I really want to see what happens in Israel and Palestine. How are we going to get out of these wars? Is it too late for us to get out of these wars? And I think these are all questions that time will tell. But I'm not going to be here on Fox News just 100% sucking on the toes of Donald Trump. He said he was going to do a lot of things, and there's a lot of important things out there that need to be done. And the first and foremost is ending this conflict in the Middle East and putting it into this thing going on in Ukraine. And so I think those are two huge fish that he has in the frying pan already. Of course, we got to get control of the border, which I don't think he's going to have a problem with. He's I think the borders is going to be a very proactive element here. But again, time will tell, and really he has no excuse not to succeed right here. On the cards have been stacked in his favor this time. So we'll see how it goes. Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com. It sleeps so good, it's scary. And then we also have Shield Box. Listen, whether, for me, I'm not law enforcement anymore. I'm not a law enforcement officer anymore. And, but for me, it's my everyday carry. Right now, I've slacked on my everyday carry. My holsters have all worn thin. My flashlights are big and bulky, and they're not the new generation type thing. I don't even have really good work gloves anymore. Handcuff keys don't exist. Other things too, like jackets, shirts, all these different things. I'm out of the loop. So with the subscription to Shield Box every month, when one pouch would cost me $25 or $24 and a knife would call me another $25, Shieldbox is going to give me 8 items, 7, 6 items, depending on their size, every single month of things that I can start swapping out my everyday carry with all year long. So some boxes, one box might have a flashlight in it. Now, great. I have a flashlight upgrade, or maybe it's got the upgrade of a certain pouch that I need, gun holster that I need, loading, reloading tools. Go ahead and go on this website. Show me what other things that Shieldbox has. Now, listen, if you're an underpaid police officer and you're one of these smaller agencies that's suffer from the defund the police movement, you're going to be able to test out some stuff from 511, from SOG, from big brands that you know of and that you trust. Wiley X, you get some sunglasses in there, some other things like that, shooting glasses, Ear Pro, knives, again, from all these different companies that you know and you trust. They're going to come in this package every month for only $55. It's a very affordable way to, again, kind of beef up your everyday carry, and just some of the things that you can kind of test out on your uniform that you're not really breaking the bank. And of course, you know, it's fun to trade these things too, right? As you're a law enforcement officer, you know, you get a new pouch in the shield box. Now you got your old pouch. Now you can trade somebody your old pouch for, I don't know, something else. You know how it works when you're in law enforcement. If you're a security guard, personal security detachment for somebody, or like I said, even if you're just an average Joe Schmo that just wants to update your everyday carry, the shield box subscription is something fun. It's like Christmas every month. So head over to shieldbox.com. Let them know that Failure to Stop sent you, that Fox, FAWKES, sent you, and the reviews. I don't really have a promo code there yet, or a landing site quite yet, but I don't care. I'd rather start pushing their project sooner than later. So head over to Shieldbox. Get your loved one the subscription for the holidays. It's a very cheap subscription. I think, was it $55 a month? Something like that. And you're going to get really good, high quality equipment to test out. Yeah. And there's 2 different tiers too. And then also we have Ghost Bed, which 'tis the season to be thinking about giving the gift that keeps on giving and giving and giving. And that's not an STD. I'm talking about the gift of a good night's sleep. Mental wellness and mental health starts with a good night's sleep. And that's why we're proud to be partnered with Ghost Bed, baby. I don't travel without my Ghost Bed pillow. You know why I sleep so well in all these Airbnbs and stuff? It's not because I travel with a Ghost Bed. That would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. Although I'm starting to talk to Ghost Bed about a travel mattress, trying to put those feels out there. They've got the massage topper, which I don't need the massage topper on the road, even though it comes with this really cool carrying case. I want like a travel mattress that I can fold up and put into carrying case. So I'm going to work with Ghost Bed on that this year. That's kind of my big goal with Ghost Bed. But just the Ghost Bed, I get by with my Ghost Bed pillow. I bought like 5 or 6 of these pillows. It is by far the greatest pillow on earth. There is no other pillow. They're heavy. They're heavy to lift. Like you hold them, but then when you lay on them, it's like the cooling technology. It's not like just a memory foam pad. It's something stupid. No, it's got like a gel. It's got this super tight woven. I mean, these pillows are made to last for life. Now, keep going down. I've got the scroll down. I've got the beefy pillow. That's the one I like. Get the one down. I don't do the faux one. I do the heavy one. Anyway, you'll find it on the website. It's the heavy duty one, man. It's super tight woven. I mean, this thing literally you could beat the hell out of it. All my kids sleep on it. But there's no alternative to these pillows, man. Like there's nothing out there. Not my pillow. My kids won a bunch of my pillows at a skate contest. Literally the first thing that came out of their mouth was like, "Oh, I can't wait to sleep on this new pillow," because they won it at a skate contest and they're like under 12 years old, so they're stoked, right? And after one night, they're like, "Yo, Dad, definitely not a Ghost Bed pillow." And I was like, "Bro, I could have told you that. Didn't want to tell you that. Let you make your own decision." Yeah, bring that image up. That's my favorite. Look at this. It's just layered with all of this. Yeah, they're amazing pillows, guys. And but you want to go the extra mile, get the Ghost Bed mattress. It has all this technology, but in the mattress, they've got 0 gravity massage modes. They got all of the accoutrements that Ben, you just fold these things basically into a couch. You can watch this podcast from a couch type position. Am I still with you, or did I get blacked out?
Yeah, you're still here, but you're starting to robot a little bit there towards the
All
end.
right. Let's move to the last story of the day. What's the last story of this? This is Elon Musk government efficiency protocol. What are we going to see out of Elon Musk here in this government efficiency secretary?
To me, because this is where I have hope. This is where I start to get excited about the other side of this coin, because he bought Twitter, right? And then he's fired 80% of the staff since he's taken ownership, and it's gotten better. So if you can take Twitter, which we all felt was a cesspool, felt was just censorship, felt that it was literally, this is the Twitter CEO office, this is the office for CIA, this is the office for FBI, this is the NSA's desk. All of the alphabet people had their little fingers in the Twitter stuff. 80% of that staff is gone, and it's running better than it was before. So I'm super excited for the thinking that he's going to be taking that over, and him and Vivek on the other side of it. He's got the political side. He's got the politics side to understand of this is a government office that we need. This is something that for sure needs to be funded. We need to make sure this is here. Maybe we get some different people in, or outsource, or rehire, or the people that are in there move to other places. Because that's the other problem over time with government. Because this is a problem that I've run into with the VA. Once you work for the government for a period of time, over a period of time, that you retain that position. So it's harder to get rid of you. You become a permanent position. You have union protection. So it's harder to just come in and just sweep in and just fire all these people. But if there's a pattern of misconduct, you start documenting things that you can get rid of them. So that the other side of them kind of worried about that. Eric popped out, so it's just me for right now for the audio side of things, and we're still I'll go for a little bit longer here. I'm excited for it. He's taken space travel. Just that's the other thing that he's done. Not just Twitter. We'll take the social media side, the company that he's going and it's running better with 80% less staff. Let's do that. Let's go to space travel. He's taken space travel and made it affordable. Because long-term, what he's trying to do, also, we've got a new rocket launch coming up. The next test is going to be coming up. What he's trying to do is he's trying to build bus stations essentially to go to other planets. Because he's going to have a bus station here that you can get on your bus and go up to the Starship. Will take you up, and then you get on a longer Starship, take you out to Mars, wherever you want to go. That's what he's trying to do. NASA was formed out of the World War II, and look how far they got, and then nothing. All kinds of government bureaucratic red tape. Every movie that you have with a NASA disaster in it, we can't have this disaster because we're going to lose funding. We can't have this disaster because we're going to lose funding. We can't have this. You can't have a government agency that works off of success or failure. And if it's failure, then you're going to lose funding. If we're going to fund space travel, we're funding space travel. We don't need that, because the people that are working there, they need to not worry about going back and forth with that. But go back to the point. He is literally doing things that people said were impossible. They said back in the 40s that it's impossible to launch a rocket and land it vertically. It's not possible. And they do it on a regular basis now. I watch rocket launches from the comfort of my home all the time with success all the time. Now he's going to do that with space travel and everything else. I'm excited to see what they propose. They also proposed the deadline of 2026. So he'll take office in 2025, give him a year. And then on the 250th birthday of the United States is when this deadline is supposed to be done. We're going to there is rot with it, but get rid of inefficiency. There's no need to have a supervisor for a supervisor for a supervisor. One supervisor, and then you have a bunch of Indians. If you have a room full of chiefs, then there's no Indians. Then it's just everyone in the room it's a dick measuring contest at that point, and nothing's ever going to get done. And lo and behold, look at what the government. Nothing ever gets done.
Josh, the federal employees have taken to the system for far too long. We all know that, if a government employee has to work more than 35 minutes of work a day, they appoint somebody else so they can knock that down to 15 minutes of work per day. And those times are over. And federal employees have taken such advantage of having a sergeant major, then has a sergeant major staff assistant, and assistant to that assistant, and then an intern of some sort. We've done this to ourselves as federal employees, is just literally pawning all the work off because we don't want to work an entire full workday, or we're tired, and that time is up, and I'm glad. And maybe that'll make the VA work better. Maybe that'll make some of these other government work better because we just don't have these endless budgets anymore. That's just full of waste. I mean, we think about how much stuff that has to be printed out on paper. Like, why are we submitting things electronically and printing all on paper and then printing 3 copies? Like, isn't one electronic submission, 1 paper copy sufficient? But no, because then somebody else would be out of a job. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. Take us away. We can end a little bit early. I'm having really bad internet connection issues over here, Josh. So take us out of here, and then I'm gonna go shoot this field box video.
All right. So we've got coming up. I'm not sure what case we have for Friday, but we'll have a case here coming up for Friday. John and Keith are going to do.
That'll be on failure to stop.
We'll be on failure to stop. We'll have the case breakdown for Friday. Illegal shift will be here on Fox. They're going to record that for the member. It'll go live to the members, and then it'll come out free for everybody else tomorrow. And then coming up next Monday, we'll have Uncuffed, and then Donut Shop Podcast. Side note to this is, I told Justin yesterday, this is one of the most comfortable hats I've ever worn. I'm not a hat guy. I don't wear hats. I wear this hat all the time. I wear this hat all the time around the house, not just when we're doing podcasting. So go over and Donut Shop Podcast, hit him up, and you get with him, and he gets you the link to get the hats. And he's got some patches too that are really nice. But yeah, go get Donut Shop Podcast, Anti-Hero Podcast, 2 Cops, 1 Donut, Getting Grip on Things. We've got too many. We've got so many on the network now that's why that's
it all worked out.
That's the great
out on one website. We're gonna have one website that's gonna lock us all in together. And then the Fox Media is that you guys have something to do all day long, so you're never listening to the radio again. And then you're in your patrol cars, and you have like-minded individuals that you can count on and you can trust, and then you see us and meet us in person, and you can be part of the friends and family. So that's really what the Fox Media is all about. But here's what I really need you guys is share the Fox News, FAWKES News. Share this with a friend. Help us grow this channel, if you would, please. So much. Tell a friend. Just tell a friend to be a part of this, and so we can build this whole thing up. But I want to see some more followers jump up on YouTube, and I want to see some more ratings and reviews. Before I get out of here, Josh, if you will, because your internet's better than mine, and I could be lost at any minute. If you'll pull up on your phone a couple of 5-star rating reviews on Spotify or iTunes. I think Spotify is what I looked at this morning. There was like 10 new ones on there. Will you just read a couple of those reviews for us as we get out of here, and give a shout out to who they're from?
Let me see if I can pull them up.
Yeah, don't forget about the Anti-Hero Supercast tomorrow as well. Donut Shop Podcast will be there co-hosting with those guys. It's going to be super, super fun. And
I can't
before we jump out of here, though.
Yeah, I can't pull it up right now. But as Eric said, like, we have so many different podcasts on the network now. If this shows you don't like this, great. There's probably something we do have that you do like. And over the course of the next year, we have the book coming out. We've got all kinds of stuff, meetups, everything. So if there's something on the network for everybody, literally for everybody, for you, your wife, your kids, the first responders, make sure you like and subscribe. Share this out. Eric might be coming back. Wait for it. Nope, he's not back yet. So share this around. Make sure that you share it to your friends. And knowing is half the battle. And if you got to know, you better win. Win something. Guns up, giddy up.